Hi all, welcome back to more of the other side of the hill solo. This is my part 24, I believe. Um, right, don't have a huge amount of time at the moment. Probably shouldn't have bothered and just waited, but there are a few things I wanted to talk about, so I thought I'd get them started. Um, Not quite organised with everything here, but anyway. Yeah, let's just talk about the few things that have came up. Uh, another mistake. I mean, I remember involving this guy, and I've just been through all this about the seniority thing and what you can do with leading generals. And I remember he was in our pile available, and then I was sort of wondering if something felt wrong about it. I don't know why I didn't click to this. Really daft, because I just went through it all and fixed the issue down wherever it was. Was it Turkey or Libya or wherever we had the leading general? I think it was Turkey. No, maybe not. It was a 7, wasn't it? Yeah, but we've replaced these, I think, haven't we? And I mean, it's a whole one about the leading general, and it was Carlos commented. I dare say anybody could have commented on this. Right, where is this? Yeah, this was in part 21 at the 14-minute 47-second mark. He's got. I think you may have noticed this because it happened to you before, and not that long before. You cannot use Runestad as leading general Turkey because he has a higher seniority, they reckon now. Yeah, you can't. I can't use him. I can't get him in play that way. That's not what I can do. So this is a mistake, and I've been thinking about should I go back and try and fix this. We came to the end of the year. There was a couple of combats that maybe shouldn't be what they'd be. What I might end up doing is what Carlos actually reminds me of. And to be honest, I read this rule again, and I don't think I quite clearly read it properly the first time. Anyway, let's see. He carries on. He also talks about we should have had a +1 here, but Martin picked that one up. I fixed that one as best as I could. Libya's gone, and that's that. But he says, I also want to remind you about rule in 4.3.2, and this is about the leading generals. No, sorry, not about the leading generals, but he carries on. It's marked important. It's one of these important rules, so you should pay a bit more attention to that, probably, because these are highlighted there because there may be things that you maybe wouldn't think about, maybe rules that you might miss, and things like that. So the important rule, and he says that allows you to replace a general in command with a more senior general from any space on your player board, right? And this is the bit that I just realised. I'm going to read the rules on page 18. Important. Once all vacancy markers, I mean, this is after you've done your vacancies and all that. So my guess is you can't just do this whenever. You have to do it in the command phase, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong there, because it does say once all vacancy markers have been removed from the map, the head of personnel may replace one general marker in an AG head or an OB box with the marker of one of his generals with a higher seniority factor. The new commanding general may come from any of the head of the personnel's spaces. And this is kind of what threw me at first. His card is moved to the in-command deck on its owner's player's board. The replace marker is returned to the owning player's board, and his card is moved to his available general space. So when I first read that, I thought it had to come from one of these spaces, one of the AG head spaces. That's not what I believe it's about. I need clarification here too. Let's just say for some reason he was in there, right? I mean, we've just reset everything. We're just about to start the new year, aren't we? But it says from one of the spaces, any of the head of personnel spaces. I mean, remember, we're the head of everything. But my take on that is, these are the spaces here. I was thinking it was but they're AG heads out on the board, or the OB. So these are available. So these are in the available general space. I don't think it says it on this board, but remember, we're playing solo It says available generals. That's activated generals, and that one's in command generals. I think these are all the species. So the fact that he's in here, I mean, I could take him and put him anywhere on the map as long as he's higher. Replace one of them higher. I mean, it does just say one. It's a one-off thing. I'm guessing that in every command phase you could do this. I think. Please comment and say that I'm getting some of this wrong, but this is my take on it now. So, but however, any space, so it could be from available, it could be from in command, and here's my question, which I'm going to leave here at the 5-minute mark, if you like. Could it be from activated as well? I think it could, but I'm not 100% sure on that one. So we're in the in command phase, and let's just say he happens to be in there. It's unlikely, because I've realised that it's more than likely he can't be in there, because he couldn't have became a leading general because his seniority is that high. But let's just say it was something a bit lower than that, and there was available. Could I bring him from activated? Let's just say it was, well, let's just pick somebody else. Let's say this guy was, we had activated him earlier, right? So he's in the activated general slot. So I'm in the command phase, and I come along and I say, right, I don't want Rommel there anymore. I'm going to replace Rommel with this guy because he's got a higher seniority. And he came from the activated card space. Is that okay as well? That's my question there, because I feel a little unsure about if it can come from activated. Because it's filling an AG head on an OB slot. So I could see it coming from available or from in command from another one. But the thing is, you can do that. If we had a vacancy, let's just say with the vacancy, wherever. Let's just say with the vacancy here right now, and we're in the command phase, well, I could replace that vacancy as long as, depending on my generals, I could probably replace that vacancy with him. Well, actually, I can't, because the highest generals, what is he? He's a 10, isn't he? But if we didn't have Von Runes dead there, which, to be honest, he shouldn't be here. Carlos has given me a big explanations to why this is. More so in my comment, my question on BGG, which I'll briefly come to, which is asking something. I was trying to work around a possible fix to this issue that I've had. But anyway, so he's reminded me of that. And I think I've got that now. So it says, this is included to give you some leeway to deal with situations like the one in your game. Having Runestad available and not being able to use him as leading general because he is more senior than any AG head on the board. So yeah, if you happen to have got yourself in this position, which I seem to have got there, I'm not quite sure how I did, but I obviously done it legally up until then, and then decided that I was going to break the rule that I just broke the previous combat, or the previous, one of the previous combats when I attached him as a leading general. So that's a way around about it. Yeah, I did reply to some of this, I think. Yeah, oh my, what a muppet, I said, about just doing it again that I've just done before. Yeah, and 4.32, I did reply saying I need to kind of have a closer look at that, which I have done now, and I think that's it. The only thing I would say is, and I can't see anything that says you can't take it from an activated general space. It just says from any of the head of personnel spaces, which I sort of take to be these 3 spaces, but correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, so thanks for that stuff, Carlos. Stu can't wait until 1942. A smiley face. Yeah, I'm sure you can't, Stu. I'm looking forward to it myself, as you always say. Right, and then that was that. Yeah. So here's another one. Which Martin brought up. Yeah, a mistake that I made, but it's going to be in my favour. The Soviets can't attack. I think the example used was Iraq, Iran here. That if we took Iraq, Iran, then we're adjacent to Caucasus, and the Soviets can attack. Well, no, like Martin's highlighted, that's what that symbol means there. So he says the Soviets can't attack into Iran, Iraq due to the prohibited USSR symbol connecting the areas, and here's linked rule 4.6, which I'm pretty sure just says that. Soviet offensive segment. The area is controlled by Axis, adjacent to an area controlled by Soviet faction, except if the line has this symbol. So they can't. So that's good. That's good to know that these areas are safer. You know, if I take that, it can't be attacked. I mean, okay, it can be landed in as well, but they all seem to be that. Yeah. Oh, quick comment on that, just while I remember. Was I left a comment in the last part, 23. I was saying that if they landed in here, we must just get knocked out. Well, I'm sure that's not the case. I'm not fully looked up the rule yet, but I'm assuming we just go down and they go in there, and then we battle it out. However, if they landed there while I was there, I think that would knock us out, because they're then in the lowest. Is that right? Or yeah, because we're meant to control everything that's lower than us, so we actually control Madrid and Barcelona. But if they land in Barcelona, does that kick us out? I'm not sure about that one. Or do we go back to there and they go into there, maybe? I don't know. Anyway, right, that was just come up there again. Right, and then, yeah, this part's going to be... I just want to get the comments out of the way, and then next time I sit down, hopefully I'll just take half an hour or so here, and I can then sit down and when I come back, probably, because I'm probably not got the time. Right, again, Martin comments again from part 20 here at the 1 hour and 2 minute 30 second mark. He says, again, the rules should have been a bit more precise, but I say it still applies since it matters when you roll for dismissal. If the leader has the dissident's faction symbol on his card, or if you get it set as a result of a die roll, any subsequent roll equal to his confidence value results in dismissal. I mean, I replied to this, and this was when we were rolling, well, I talked about it, when we were rolling for Kesselring. Now, Kesselring is not a dissident interest group, right, which I'm going to get to in a minute, and I had to look it up. I mean, I figured it might have been a symbol similar to this, and it is, but I had to look it up. You know where I had to look it up? In the competitive rulebook, because I don't think there's mention of this. Well, the actual symbol that's on the guys. Now, apparently, Carlos has said to me there's only 3 of them, so let me see if I can find one. Yeah, let's do that first, Grant. Right, so here we have Schmidt here. Hopefully that's focusing on. You can see he's got the wee dissident symbol down the bottom. I believe there's only 2 or 3, he said. I think it was 3, or maybe 3 or 4, or whatever. So it's similar to that, just slightly different colour. So, I mean, fair enough, but I don't think in the solo or co-op rulebook that wee symbol's there. That symbol is. The one in black, you might say I'm being picky there, and you're probably right, but what annoyed me more about this, and what Martin's saying is that we do, or he believes that we should, be considering this as a dissident. If we were to roll for dismissal on this guy, right, if he was questioned right now, and he's a dissident, right, and we rolled a 2, then he would be dismissed. Whereas if we rolled a 6 for him, he's not a dissident, he becomes a dissident. Now, if we roll a 6 for him again, and questioned, then he's removed. But this guy, cause he's a dissident already, that counts. That sort of annoyed me. I mean, I said interesting, and yet the rules say to ignore interest groups in the co-op solo rules. Something not quite right here, surely. I mean, I showed you in the rules, I'm pretty sure I showed you right at the beginning of the book, near the beginning of the book. On page 7, it's got a list of all the general. I'll just squeeze across there to there. Generals, and it points to interest groups, and it says there quite clearly: ignore this feature in cooperative and solitaire games. Interest group, you have to ignore it in these games. So then I'm confused to why it says. Now, where is this going to be? It's going to be dismissal rules, isn't it? Hang on until I find it. Yeah, so it's in dismissals here on page 17. And I went through this as well because I said, sure, that shouldn't be there. It says there the result, and this is if it's equal to, The result is equal to the general's confidence factor. If the general belongs to the dissident interest group, or there is a dissident marker on the general, he's dismissed. So it's kind of saying there that you should follow it. And I thought, well, why is that in the Co-op Solo book if we're to ignore the interest group? Come on. I mean, okay, it's saying it in the rule there, but it shouldn't be saying that you ignore it completely. It should be saying you ignore it unless it's a dissident faction, because that's the only one that's relevant. But it should say that. Come on. And you're not telling me I'm off there. So I had to post this question. So dissidents faction. So I said the rules say to ignore interest groups in the Co-op Solo rules. However, the Co-op Solo rules also mention dissident faction being relevant when checking for dismissals. Am I missing something? So SAS Ward, if a general is a dissident faction, I think what you roll for dismissal is different. They can also roll to become a dissident instead of getting removed, but next time they're removed easier. Right, okay, but this is what we want. The reply, well, I'm not saying I don't appreciate your comments, SAS Ward, but it seems that you're agreeing with that as well. Martin seemed to agree with that. Again, it could just be a grant thing, but the only moment, this is from Carlos, the only moment when the interest group is relevant in solo and cooperative play is when checking if they're dissidents during dismissal rules. Well, you should have that written there, Carlos. Sorry, that one I'm definitely sort of saying that should be written there. It shouldn't tell you to ignore interest groups in the co-op and solo game if you're telling me that that this is an exemption. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, you do look at them when it comes to that, and it's not written there. I mean, that, there are only 3 dissident generals in the game. He says just follow the rules for dismissals in those cases. Right, understand it completely now. And if it had just said that back in the beginning of the rule book, that you ignore faction groups apart from the dissident faction, which is relevant to dismissals. And I said that, okay, I will voice my thoughts when I get around to recording part 24, which I'm doing right now. I don't think I've seen that comment. Sorry, I actually have played solo with the faction tracking system, and I like it. Adds a roleplay aspect to the game. Ah, right, interesting. Okay, so I've not looked into how it all works, but he's saying you could play with it. I don't know how it would play out then, to be honest. But no, I understand now, and it's quite simple, and I just think that should have been written for sure in page, was it 7 I said? It should say what I just said. Okay, and then while I'm just on BGG here was a question I'd thought about, and this was to do with the fact that I'd got Von Runestad, who's a seniority 10, and made that mistake, and then I started thinking, if I had a seniority 10, and I couldn't use him as a leading general, well, your options for choosing a leading general are the most senior and the second highest. So let's, my example here is, when selecting a leading general for combat, let's say you have generals with seniority 10 and 6 and 5. So the rules say I need to pick either a 10 or a 6. Right, fair enough, I've got that. This is me trying to sort of sneak away around a bit, and I didn't really believe that this was going to come back as an answer. Yeah, you can do that, but I thought you never know. I'm going to ask anyway. I mean, it's not written anywhere that you could do what I'm suggesting, so there's that as well. So it says the other rule involved here restricts you from using a general that is equal to or higher seniority than the AG head. As I can't use the generals that have 10 seniority in my example, does that then allow me to look at the 6 seniority generals and the 5 seniority generals? And I didn't really think so, but anyway, so Bard comes back. No, if I remember correctly, you need to pick a leading general that's highest or next highest seniority, which is clear, it says that in the rules, and also below AG head seniority, which is also clear. So, I'm trying to make a rule in there for myself, really. So there are 2 restrictions in place and both must be followed. In your example, your choice is between 10 and 6. If I'm wrong, I guess Carlos will probably chime in. So, you're not wrong. Bard? You're not wrong. Carlos does chime in, however, by saying exactly what Bard said. In your example, you're forced to choose a 6 seniority general. If you cannot choose, and this is in bold, if you cannot choose a general within the restrictions, then the battle is fought without a leading general. This rule is meant to force you to use senior generals but for senior posts, as historically. And this is just what I'm... It's not that I've been deliberately avoiding it, I don't think. But it was talked about before that you want these higher generals out so that you can dig deeper to get the lower seniority generals, which seem to be better. And to be honest, Carlos goes into... He makes a comment on my YouTube. He goes into quite a few words regarding some of this stuff. In fact, well, some of it might be in here as well, though. Right, so you're meant to use, as historically, if you have a 10 seniority general, he should be head of an army group, or a, I'm assuming that must be or an OB, not in your available generals deck, while 6 and 7 seniority generals are leading army groups. You can keep senior generals available, but they will mess up your choice of leading generals. And yeah, you can see that. This makes OB West more attractive as an elephant cemetery, where you can park away a senior general and so choose more useful generals as army group heads or leading generals. One of the design intentions of the game is to force players to fight battles with suboptimal senior generals because better generals are not senior enough. Because this is what happens in wars, sometimes the right guy is not at the right place at the right time. If this makes players feel frustrated, then the game is working as a lesson in military history. Yeah, good point. Very good. So I said, very good, guys. Thanks. Was just trying to find an easier solution to fix a mistake. And then he knows what my mistake is. Honestly, I would not worry too much about it. You can just use the rule that allows you to place Runestead in an AG head position, even if held by another general, and keep going. You're just about to recover all your activated generals in your phase, so which generals are activated or not will not really matter shortly. I think that's how I may just resolve this problem. I might come back and say, right, let's just say that Von Runestead, I'd appointed him in one of these posts out here and put one of the lower ones back in. But what I also might do is just leave it, because I've reset everything, and we'll get Von Runestead placed into somewhere and get that fixed as we move into the next command phase, even if we just have to use that important rule in 4.3.2 or whatever it was. So, right, so thanks for that, guys. So, what else is there? Right, so, these last two comments I think to talk about, this was from part 22. Now, I just released 23 last night, I think it was, when I was finishing work. So, it was pretty late, so maybe folk might not have watched that yet. So, at the 6-minute 15 mark, let's just read Martin's comment there. I agree that the writing could be more precise, which is why it's good Carlos is around and can clarify things that are unclear. And yeah, I really appreciate when the designers are around watching these things, answering the questions. It makes him a great designer in my eyes. There have been a few games I've played, a couple in particular that I'll not mention right now, that the designer just tried to show up once in a while and offered to help and then just didn't, and it's kind of horrible. It's like, why would you not want to care about your game? Carlos wants... He's wrote a nice comment. The comment I'll get to. I maybe not read it all because it's quite long as he tails off at the end and mentions as well. But he wants to watch this. He wants to see his game. I would be the same. I would want to see somebody playing my game. And yeah, I dare say I can maybe niggle at you a little bit, Carlos, and the fact that I'm maybe picking on little things in your rules and your thoughts in the game and whatever, but I think, like you've said in your comment, which we'll maybe get to, like I say, I think you can learn from that too, possibly, in your next game. Oh, and while I'm just on that, let me see this. Where is it? Where does it tell you? Yeah, just while it's in my mind, I know I'm just going off topic a bit here. Hang on. Well, I was starting to think I was imagining having seen this, but I thought it was on the very front of the front cover of the box, but it's not. I'm sure it's somewhere else, and then is it in the rule books? No. Anyway, what are you talking about, Grant? Well, it's in It's on the side of the box here somewhere. Here we go. It's on here, and it was this here. I'm sure it's elsewhere as well. You'll see it says High Command Series Volume 1. So that suggests that there's going to be, if you're saying Volume 1, it could suggest there's going to be a Volume 2. So, which is great, because, yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying this game. I'm enjoying it, and after playing it once, you can see how you want to try it again, because now you understand things better and whatever. But anyway, I don't know if Carlos can mention any talk about whether there will be a Volume 2, what it may be involving and whatever, but sounds great anyway. Anyway, yes, the fact that the designers around is great, and I've probably had that in a lot of my playthroughs, but sometimes the designers don't like to watch the videos and whatever, but they answer the questions. I played a lot of John Butterfield's games, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't sit and watch my videos, whether he watches some of it or not, maybe. But there's been a lot of questions come up through my playthroughs, a lot of his games, and he'll answer the questions, That's what you need. The others that just don't, it just means the game doesn't get played. It's on my shelf again. I mean, I suppose I gave them the money for it, but anyway, let's get back to what we're on. And this is, we're talking about the OB positions here anyway. So Martin carries on. The way I understand von Manstein is that if he's in the OB East position, it's only the second effect that is used, not both. Right, so I didn't look at this. So hang on, who's this? Von Manstein. So it's only the second position? What? Von Manstein's a 6, I think, isn't he? Oh, have they not got him in play? I think I put him out somewhere. Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was wondering, well, should he not be in the OB? But I think I can move him later anyway. Yeah, there he's there. So what is he saying? That it's only this. The way I understand von Manstein, he's in the OB East. It's only the second effect that he's used, not both. Yeah, did somebody not say it was both? It was that guy. Was it that guy Beredas that was commenting? The controlling player may change the result of one die. Yeah, see, that doesn't mention the OB. So I think it's just that one. If this marker is in the OB box. Actually, yeah, because they are slightly different rules, aren't they? Yeah, and I think this is what I think Carlos comments on this as well, and I think that's known to be correct. Like I say, this is quite a big comment that Carlos has mentioned. Man, I do sort of still debate a little bit with him here regarding the OB rules, because what he says is, as to OB, the rule for activating OB heads in combat is in the section that deals with activating generals in combat. I cannot think of a better spot to place it, though I suppose I could have repeated it elsewhere. Yeah, I just didn't think it was that clear. I mean, you've got that little important rule, but there was no mention of the West OB box. So you might say, well, there's no mention of it. You can put in who you want, and they'll do what they say on the card. So what's the problem, Grant? And I'm like, fair enough. I just think I could have been talked about more. I think there could have been just a separate section regarding OBs. You've got 3 different ways of dealing with generals. You've got the AG heads, OBs, and the leading generals, and they all work slightly differently. Admittedly, that I don't think there's a completely separate section for each of these cases, but I think it's just more so the OB side of it that sort of slightly confused me a little bit. Anyway, he says, however, I find that players find repetitions in rules tedious, and they prefer to find rules where they're actually used. This also reduces the potential for inconsistency. I'm sure some parts of the rules could be clearer, although with OB generals, you seem to be very clear about the interpretation of the rule until somebody suggested an alternate reading, which honestly I cannot see without some stretching of the wording. I'm not quite sure. Is that maybe that the guy said that von Manstein could be used for both these abilities, and I've read it that way and then become... I don't... what my confusion was, and what that person brought up to me, was that anybody could go into the OB West. I mean, like I've just said, it doesn't say that somebody specific has to go into the OB West to affect combat. It only talks about the Southern and the Eastern, and about these specific generals being used. But I didn't really think about the West. I thought, I don't know what I thought, to be honest. But I suppose now we're moving into this, and I've got the card to be able to do this. I would have then said to myself, right, who do I put in there? And then I probably would have come to the conclusion that, well, now I can put anybody in there. And is the combat going to work? Yes, because it only specifies the important rule for OB East and OB. So then again, I can put anybody there, and it doesn't affect combat depending on what's what. But anyway, yeah, I mean, maybe I would have realised that. I suppose I would have come the time when I was going to deal with that. So maybe you've got a point there. Anyway, there's an awful lot to read here. I do thank you for your big long explanation here. It's too much. It's too much to read out here. Let me see if I can pick a little bits out of it, maybe. First, he talks about it was a clarification that must have been within playtesting that he adjusted because it was confusing. And then so he just changed it to the important rule: only Kessel Ring and Von Manstein may affect combat when in command of OB South and OB East, respectively. So just to clarify there, the list of generals that can affect combat is OB heads. Right, hang on then. Is that written right? Am I missing something? Just to clarify further, let me summarise the list of generals that can affect combat as OB heads: OB Sud, Kesselring, OB Ost, Von Manstein, OB West, none. I'm missing something there. Am I not reading that right? Is that not saying that it doesn't matter who you put in the West, they don't affect combat? Or am I not reading that right? Hang on. I'm not quite sure if I'm reading that right or if he's worded something wrong there or not. Was that really... Is that now saying that there's no OB? If you put whoever you put in OB West, he doesn't affect combat at all. So am I getting that wrong? I mean, admittedly, that's what that other guy has said. So maybe that's why he's saying what he said regarding that somebody else has changed the wording. Where is that bit then? Only Kesselring and Von Manstein may affect combat when in command of OB South and OB East, respectively. There's no mention of OB West. And that's why I kind of thought when that guy said, he says you can put anybody in OB West and it doesn't matter. That's sort of like he's writing that as in none. They'll not affect combat at all. I don't know. Right, I might need to confirm that one. I'll not reply all that, but as to redoing turns, you mentioned this game is a more complex game than it seems. This is only the first time you're playing. Your mistakes will sometimes benefit you and sometimes play against you. Yes, he's sort of suggesting what most folk will say, just take note of your mistakes and move on. But I'm always liking to fix. I might just let this one go, I think, because if I was to go back and try and put him into play, some of the other combats might have been involving other generals, and I don't think there would have been much difference, to be honest, at the end of it. So I think it's probably better to do that. I spoke about this other one. He says, one more comment: I have realised that by rolling the allied dice before the Axis dice, you have a little advantage that outweighs the disadvantage with reckoning. When rolling all the dice together, as I always do, I have to decide whether to use paratroops before I see the results in the allied dice. I spoke about this. I realised that doing it the way that I see it written in the rules actually benefits me, because I get to decide about using the paratroops before I roll my dice. Whereas if you roll them all together, you've got to decide if you're going to use them then. And that's what he carries on saying. Since sometimes you use paratroops and then you realise they were not necessary. In your case, you only use parachutes when they're necessary, so I think that more than compensates for the blind re-rolling with Reckon Out. Well, yeah, you could just sort of put them all together, or I'm going to stick doing it my way, and I'll benefit from the paratroops part, and I'll not so much benefit from, as he points out, Reckon Out. Enjoying these videos tremendously, and I'm very grateful that you're devoting so much time and effort to this gameplay. I welcome all your questions and criticism, since I can learn from an honest, critical mind than from flattery. I'm sorry that this comment is so long, but it's only fate that I should give you back some of the time you're investing in the game. Well, thanks for that, Carlos, and I appreciate that you don't mind the criticism and whatever. I mean, I'm not here just to give criticism. I'm here to enjoy your game, and I am enjoying your game. So, things that I don't understand will get mentioned and talked about, and some of them will become clear to me and answered clear, and I'll accept that. And some of them, I think, like the little rule about the dissident thing there. Again, I would suggest that if there's another rewrite of the rulebook, that it mentions in page 7 that you ignore all interest groups in the co-op and solo game apart from the dissident, which can come into play here. But then again, let's say other people clearly understood that and were fine with it, so it might just be a me thing. Okay, I think I'm going to have to leave it there. I'm 36 minutes in, so. But I think what I'll do when I come back, I'm just going to leave the generals. I don't think I'm going to mess with it. I think that's probably best. And then I can just come back and start some gameplay. And we'll get Von Rundstedt put in somewhere before we have any combat. We've got the command phase to come before any offensives. So I'll just deal with it then. I know it's not the best way I like to do things, but I think if it was to rewind back, so you're going back 3 parts, I'd need to go back to part 21 and see what happened there, and then change it, and then also change it in the Western offensive attacks, because I was using generals that I maybe shouldn't have been using them, whatever. So what we'll assume is I put Von Rundstedt out there at some point, and, well, then he should be out there still, Grant, shouldn't he? I think when I put him in as the leading general, I don't even think he affected the combat, did he? I don't think so. He was attacking in planes. Maybe he did, but I think it was just to play him, because I realised that if I get rid of that 10, but there was easier ways to get rid of the 10, as it's just been pointed out to me. And I read that rule, I just didn't quite clearly get the gist there until I read it again, and then understood it. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the way that was worded. That was just a me thing. Right, I'm going to just pause there, and so hopefully I will come back when I get the time, whether it's later today or tomorrow, I don't know, to be honest. And I'll get another 20 minutes to make this part just not all about me blithering about this, that, and the next thing. I don't think there was any more. I think that pretty much covered everything. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be other things to talk about when I come back, but if there is anything I forgot about, I can also bring that up as well. Right, I'll be back when I'm back to finish this part. Okay, cheers. Aye, all. Right, back to finish this part 24, which is 30 minutes of me talking about some things that were brought up and mistakes and other things. Not fully got everything cleared up. Still a little unsure about the OB West. I think maybe Carlos is maybe the way he worded that. Maybe it meant there was no restrictions in the OB West. I don't know. I'll need to be doubly sure. I'm sure there's something on BGG about it. So when it comes to thing is, it could be quite soon we're going to do that, because we've got the card for it. Okay, well let's just get things kicked off. So we're into 1942. Let's zoom in on things up there a little bit, Grant. 1942 is the year. We have the assault guns project completed in 1941. 1942 brought in a landing marker, but remember it doesn't apply in the winter. And that's where we are. We're at the winter administrative phase. So there's a few. What was the other thing I remember when I was talking about? Remember the winter? The air naval controls don't matter. You can't use them. You can't have landings, and paratroops. You can't use paratroops in the winter. That's the 3 things that I know. Now, whether there's more than that, I might just want to keep on top of that just to make sure. Okay, so bombing in Germany is the first step, and I don't expect this part to go too long before I have to stop. To be honest, I'm just sneaking in and getting bits when I can. I expect to get called away shortly. So bombing in Germany, we still managed to keep this track at the 5. Whether I feel like this year it might start struggling. We might start struggling to keep it there. We almost had it knocked down 1, to be honest, going into here, didn't we? But yeah, I was just talking about that. The die roll was between that reducing or that reducing. If this had reduced, we would have had to knock one of our replacements down 1. So it probably was a better result getting the strategic warfare down. And we're going to get to put that back up shortly anyway before it matters. Okay, so bombing in Germany, non-German replacements, right. So the Wehrmacht replacements are at 3. Luftwaffe now, who's been unrestricted but still sitting at 2, and we chucked the strategic warfare replacements up to 2 as well because we had nothing better to do. So that's quite handy in the fact that it got kicked away down to 0, so we'll get it back up to 2. But we'll do these in order. So Wehrmacht replacements first then. Now, the issue is there's not an awful lot, and I mean, like I say, if they're not in here, they're on the map, so that's good. That's a good thing. But we do have a new card to be able to play this year. New units, which is going to give us 2 regular and 3 reduced armies. So we can make something of that. Right, so 3 replacements. Let's just look at the bigger picture now. Now it's going to start happening. It's going to start kicking off. It's going to get rough. Maybe not so much with the landing side of things. I guess before the end of the year we might have some landings in here. Maybe. Hang on. I think maybe I'll have to go. Give me a sec. Hi all. Yes, I did indeed have to go there. And I've been away for a couple of days. 2 or 3 days I think anyway as well. So I want to say this is a bit chopped up this part now. I want to say I had 38, another 3 minutes. I think I've got about 41 minutes. It should be showing about 41-ish minutes right now. So, and don't have a lot of time here, but I was hoping to just try and finish this part. So hopefully get 20 minutes. Now, there's probably a lot more comments to make. Right, well, first of all, I'm going to leave this here in the video. I get so confused with YouTube comments sometimes I don't get notifications about them. I also got one that came up again, like the one that happened previously with Martin. It was showing up on my video. This was from Carlos, and then I replied to it, and then I can't see it there anywhere. I don't know how that happens. And also I eventually read some of the replies that Carlos had made to Martin's comments on my videos, but I didn't get any notifications of them coming up. Now, I don't know if that's normal or not, because it's not me, but I mean, I think I would have thought I would have got a notification if somebody added another comment, but then maybe not if it's somebody else that's commented and then somebody comments on top of that. If anybody knows anything about that, if they could tell me what I'm maybe missing there, because it's a wee bit annoying when I don't see them. So I eventually seen these comments, and I felt like the need to reply to some of them. Now, I'm leaving that here as well, because if you get around to reading this, watching this, Carlos, I added a couple of comments to those comments that you left for Martin, and I don't think, well, to be honest, this is one of the ones that you seem to reply to, but I can't see it anymore, so I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, there's quite a few comments, and I don't think I'm being harsh as such, but maybe a couple of comments that you might want to, like, growl at me about in there, but also some nice things as well, I think. I'll come back to all that as well, but I don't really have the time for it now, but I just wanted to leave that there. The one that I did want to mention though, because I think that was one of the last things I talked about, was again being a little bit unsure about the OB West situation, and noticing like this was Carlos's comment. This is me replying to it, which is like one of the bits I don't think he's seen, or he's certainly not replied to yet. But it was only done a day or so ago. So I mean, maybe other things on. So this was the final bit that he's comment on, the bit that matters here. So just to clarify further, let me summarise the list of generals that can affect combat as OB heads. So he is saying can affect combat, and I started thinking that maybe he'd misprint, maybe that said can, but then that doesn't make sense, because Kesselring, we do know that it's pointed out that Kesselring can do that. In fact, he's the only one that can affect combat there, and von Manstein, no one that can affect combat there. And the fact he's putting none there suggests that no generals are going to help with combat in the OB West, and that is correct. That is it. So my wee comment there is that put this in the rules. And well, I also said after that, yeah, let's just finish off with this bit. Even though I still had trouble at first, because I actually still believed that the rules allowed any general to affect combat whilst in command of OB West, this was swayed because of my doubt in the rulebook and from others playing the game. And yeah, just no mention of OB West. Now you could say, well, there's no mention because nobody can affect it. Nobody can do anything about it. Fair enough. My guess is that a lot of people, Martin themselves, probably clearly understood that. But it's not just me. You know, I did follow up. I thought I was going to... Hang on. Where's the bit that I commented about that guy that left the comment? Yeah, I think that's on the previous comment. Anyway, it was the guy that's been commenting, Beredis, wasn't it? And he's actually been getting all this wrong. First of all, it is also confirmed that Kesselring? No, it's not Kesselring. It's the other guy in it. Well, did I not just put him out? I put him out there, which is probably the wrong thing I've done. Right, where is he then? He must be in this pile. There he's there. Von Manstein. So, and again, I'm sure I've seen other people doing this too, that they think that both these affect if he's in the OB. Now, this is the bit that talks about OB, so maybe, I think Carlos' reckoning on this is because this is what talks about the OB. This is the only bit that you're interested in. But because in my eyes, the OB rules are a bit vague and a bit like, you don't know, if he's in the OB West, that's going to affect. But some people are thinking that triggers too. That guy Beredis, for instance, he says if he's in the OB, which one is this? OB Ostbox, he gets both of these abilities. Well, that's not true as well. Martin seemed to suggest that wasn't the case, so he's obviously reading this in a better way. I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't be sure. Well, I know now. But the other thing the Beredis guy said, that any general can go in the OB West and be used for combat, and I'm sure he's not the only one to think that. Because well, one of the guys that were doing the video was just using any general in the OB sections and using their combat abilities. But I mean, I did think there was something. Anyway, yeah, put that in the rules. I think just make it clear. I think now I understand it, right? All you should be interested in is having Kesselring in here, right? And if you've not got him here, you've got to have somebody in there, but he doesn't do nothing regarding combat. It doesn't matter who it is unless it's Kesselring, right? Now tell me if I'm still getting some of this wrong, please. And OB Ost von Manstein is the only general. That's the only guy that you want up there. And if for some reason you can't have him up here, no other general in there is going to help you with combat. And you've got to have somebody in there if this is available. Which it is going to be. Oh yeah, it's not OB. It's OB West, isn't it? That I've got. It's no OB East that I'm doing. It's this one, isn't it? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you've got up there. They're not going to help you with combat. But once it becomes available, you've got to put somebody in there. So in actual fact, this doesn't really... Well, what's been explained to me now more as well, and I'm getting to grips with it, is you can put get a crappy general up there that's not going to do anything. A high general. Who was the one that was being suggested as one just to chuck up there? Yeah, was it not Von Runstead? You know, he's a 10. Just put him up there out the way. I mean, he does have an ability that helps, but it's not going to help up there. But it gets rid of him, gets you digging down into your lower seniority generals, and this is the big thing of the game, which I realised a wee while ago, but this whole thing was baffling me a little bit. Yeah, and Carlos does talk about the OB West helping with unrest. Now, I'm not... When I play this, I get a -1 to my unrest. I play this card. I'm wondering if there's something more, that the fact that he seems to be highlighting that. And it could be something that I'll come across, or maybe I've came across already, but it's just not springing to mind right now. Maybe he might explain that to me. If there's something else regarding the OB West that helps with unrest, I'm not sure. It's just not. It's not jumping out at me. I mean, apart from, by, like I say, playing that card reduces my unrest by 1. But it sounded more like he was specifically saying OB West this helps with unrest or something. Anyway, right, okay, that's another 9 minutes away. I'll come back and talk about the rest of the things later. So let's just do a little bit. I did say I was going to get 20 minutes. Right, I'm on replacements. German replacements. I'm on Wehrmacht replacements. I just double checked where I was, but I've not done any yet. I started then going on about what am I going to do next, I think. Did I? Oh yeah, we've got more units that we're going to place, because I've only got 5 units there. And I'm getting to place 3 of the white ones, I suppose. Which might be the best bet, to place 3 of them, because it then leaves a reduced unit and a regular unit, just in case I need to replace them. You know, I need to take. But then when are these? Am I not just about to play the card that gives me the new units? What one is it? Where is it? Where's the one that put the units? Oh, it's hiding underneath there. Yeah, new units. So that is in the production directives. Oh, I'll tell you a quick one. This was from Beredis. Good point, which I never really thought about. It's not really a difficult one to spot though, if you think about it. You resolve your production directives and your political directives before your military directives. That's right, innit? Yeah. And what he was pointing out was that you could have a go at the political directive, let's just say back at the Spain one. When we had Spain, the Diplomacy Spain card in our hand, I could have tried it in that step, and if I succeeded, not bothered going military-wise, or then I could, if I failed it, I could then go military-wise. So, I mean, it's not a difficult one to see that, but something I hadn't thought about much. So, and there might be other things up there that you could do in the order that might be better for you. Okay, so, right, how many units are we getting? That was it. So we're getting 2 regular and 3 reduced armies. So, as long as I can set my production cost at 2, and production's the first one to come, so that's before anything else, we're going to get an extra 2 regular armies and 3 reduced armies in here. So that's going to be before any issues, isn't it? Yeah, it is. So I don't really need to worry about what I'm leaving here. So I could take this out, because I'm going to get 2 more of these. Well, assuming that's a production card that I play first, which certainly makes sense. I mean, I could chuck the production cost up to 3 and do forced labour as well, but if I do that one first, these are the other 2 that I picked. I don't think there's a crazy rush to be doing these. It seems more sensible to get the new units out, doesn't it? That's what I'm thinking anyway. So, okay, so what are you going to... Yeah, I guess the worry was, like, we take a hit here, and well, mind you, if there's no regular armies in there, and we had to take a reduction, just say in Middle East, then we just have to, because we can't reduce that to a regular army, we have to reduce that to a reduced army. So it's fine. You do have to be careful with some of these though, and maybe we'll see it as the game goes on. Yeah, okay, so well, am I considering any kind of aggression? I mean, Barbarossa doesn't happen till the summer, right? Okay, so that's me coming back to thinking what I'm doing. So that might happen. Barbarossa 2 can't happen. Conquers Iraq, Iran, and conquers the Moscow. So the two possible winter offensives, if you like, I think are these two. They don't seem to restrict. So if we pump our military cost to 3, we could do both of these. So this one's 27 or 28. This is the one that's going for Egypt. So that would be an attack from here. So I can't boost that anyway. The other one is conquest of Iran or Iraq, which is an attack in here, which is either an attack from this or this area. And I can't boast for their armies too. So my military actions in the winter here, yeah, while I'm up my replacement steps, are going to be either one of these or both of these, which, yeah, and it's just to see where I want to put these armies. So I don't really need to bother about. So I basically probably just want to shore up Barbarossa more. So let's put one up here, right, and 2 more. Let's put a replacement of that into there. So that's 2. And then the other one. Man, it doesn't really matter, does it, Grant? Thing is, your movement, I'm not. Well, hang on here. I did think about reducing some of these. Well, while these are on the aggressive, maybe the one in Spain. I did think I would need to start taking some of them away, maybe reducing one of these, and to be honest, in each of these areas, down to a reduced army. I can't keep that strength there when I'm going into Barbarossa, can't I? In fact, to be honest, maybe some of the Panzers should be coming in. That's probably what you're saying. Well, I'll dare say we look into the winter movement step and maybe make a decision on that there. And then we've still got the spring, and the first start of the summer before we need to get going with it. So that was 1, 2, and then one more. Right, well, that doesn't matter. I'll just put it in here, I think. No, I'll put it there. Right, that's my 3 Wehrmacht replacements. And you can see I've got 3 reduced armies left. But we are about to get another 3 reduced and 2 regular armies in there. Okay, my Luftwaffe replacements are at 2. Remember, that can go up to 3 now. But there's probably lots of things we want to do here, so we're maybe not going to have the point. So 2, right, each box is at 2. The southern front, western front, and eastern front, they're all at 2. I mean, we want to start boosting the eastern one. We don't care so much about the western, don't think. Well, you do have Spain, right enough. But the combats that we're likely to make are going to be in the southern. Is it tempting to put both of them into there? Both of the points, and possibly it would boost that. Sorry. Thing is, I don't want to go into the Spain one and that drops to a 1, do I? Nah, I better do 1 there and 1 in the southern. I don't know. Maybe there was a better way of doing that, but okay. And then strategic warfare replacements. Well, we put that up to 2, which is quite. I'm quite glad I did, because we took 3. I want to say we took 3 hits on this. 2 was an event, and then 1 we took a hit. So we're going to boost that back up by another 2. So 1, 2. So it's up to the 2 box. So that's not quite so bad as it could have been. Okay, so that's our main replacements. Then we go is satellite replacements. Well, we still have 2 countries with satellite armies, so we're still going to get the 2 yellow dice. And looking for a hat, we could certainly do with something else out. Oh man. No, the dice are still beating away at me. Okay. So no satellite armies. Right, and then up to production now. Okay, so just glancing up there. And also, I don't want to move the Wehrmacht replacements. So military wise, well, I've looked at the cards, and there's 2 options. What one? The Iraq-Iran one's probably the more important, isn't it? Yeah, because we cut that off, we're not getting attacked in Turkey anymore. So I'm maybe not showing you any of that, but shoot, you probably know what I'm on about. Yeah, so we can either go for Iraq-Iran, or we can go for Egypt. So, but the one Libya-Egypt, oh no, it's not. It's this one. No, yeah, it is. I thought that. I thought this was the more costly one. It is. I just switched them about there. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I think this is a more important one, but it would be nice to do them both, because we've got the armies there for it. So can we put our military to 3? No, I don't know. This doesn't seem as important anymore now, although it would allow us to maybe chuck von Rundstedt in there. I don't know if he's the right one for it or not. It's just because he's a 10. Certainly we want to get him out there somewhere, not in our availables. So, what else we got? That increases fanaticism to +1, so does that. Not so important right now. These are cards that we want to see later on, because once the Black Orchestra cards build up, we want our fanaticism to be up as high as it can, because the coup attempt, that's going to affect the coup attempt. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. The higher we've got fanaticism, if there's a coup, the better chance we've got to still keep it being in the game. And you got bribing generals, which is a 1. So there's no rush there with any of these, really, is there? Unrest, knocking unrest down by 1. Well, it's at 0 at the moment, so it's not threatening. I mean, maybe we should play this. It knocks unrest down as well. So that would be a 1 we need in political. So let's see if well, it's at 1. It's at 1, okay. And then production. Well, I definitely want that for the new units. So that's a 2. Oh yeah, forced labour allows you to move 1 replacement marker box to the right, which is really good, isn't it? So in actual fact, when does that get played? Production gets played first, doesn't it? So production gets played before political. So can I set that at 3 then? Let's have a look at that. But bear in mind, with that, I can set one of these to the left, knowing that I'm pushing it to the right. Well, hang on, it's just the what is it? The replacement marker. So I could do that right now and then boost the Luftwaffe up to 3, for instance, or boost the strategic warfare. Well, I'll probably go for Luftwaffe. So what did I say? Can I have so military? I definitely want it 2. But could I push it to 3? Well, let's be greedy and put it there. I'm pretty sure I'm not getting all that. I'm up. So it's 14 we've got. So let's just not mess about and put that to there, knowing that we've got the forced labour. So what is that? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's 16 grand. So you're not getting all that. Now, hang on. We could probably knock that down. Well, it's at 2 and it can go to 3 at the moment, but
think with the other things, that's 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, that's 15. So we're still one short. I think, I don't know, is the military important? Thing is, the new units is important, I think. Now that I've left what I've left in the force pool anyway. But, and then if I move that down, I'm playing the force labour. Well, if I don't play the force labour, but that defeats the purpose, doesn't it? It's still not leaving me the same. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So something still needs to go down if I do that. Yeah, that doesn't help me then, does it? So I really have to take the hit on the military side. So, but I'm as well playing force labour, am I? Is there any reason why that would be better kept? I don't know. Can't work that one out, to be honest. Right, no, I think we'll just stick with Fall Orient to Conquest of Iran, Iraq. And, you know, we can do the offensive in Libya and Egypt. After objective check, return this card to the military directive card deck, even if it's successful. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't come back to my hand, it does go away at the deck. So I'm going to knock that down to 2 then. So, is it important to play the force labour then? What is that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 14. Basically without playing the force labour, isn't it? I could play the force labour and knock. It just balances out the same, doesn't it? I'm just wondering if it'd be better timed. I don't know. I think I'll keep hold of it, actually. I think I'll keep it. Then again, yeah, because you're just going to use it the same way, Grant. It's just always going to allow you to do it. It's a sort of free directive, isn't it, in a way? But I'm actually not sure. I'm just going to leave it at that. So we've got 14 points there, so I'm not going to play the force labour. I'm just going to play the new units. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Right, let's wrap this up. Well, I might as well wrap it up into the operations phase, because I think we know what we're doing here, don't we? So production directive. Well, I'm just going to play this new units. Alright, let me zoom out a little bit. Keep that in show though. So production costed 2, which we've got. Add these units to the force pool. There's no sort of prerequisites of that. So 2 regular armies and 3 reduced armies. So 2 regular and 3 reduced. Oops. There's only 1 of each left in the box there. So 3 reduce, was it? 1, 2, 3, and 2 regular. Just double check here. And 2 regular. There we go. That looks a bit better now. Okay, and that's that card done. Can be right. Hang on. Right, sorry, I'm going to have to get this wrapped up. Right, so that 2. Yeah, we've done that. Put them in, and then that card's finished. Doesn't come back. So can I quickly do the next 2? Hopefully, like political directive. We set that at 1. Yeah, but I don't know who I'm going to assign. Well, no, it doesn't matter, Grant. You're placing a vacancy marker anyway. Am I going to do it? Yeah, you don't actually choose that just now, do you? Yeah, let's just do it. So my political directive is at 1. States of France is not Third Republic, it's Vichy. So place a vacancy marker in the OB West command box, and then unrest -1. So just while we're sitting there, unrest -1. and vacancy marker in OB West up there. And then that's that card done. That's away as well. Okay. And then finally, military directive, which we've got set at 2. We're going to play forward at 2. Conquest of Iran, Iraq. That's the prerequisite. The Axis controls Egypt, Turkey, or Caucasus. So we control Turkey. So we're going to go and attack here. I will just put the pawn here just now. It says you can put in area 15 or 16. So we've got the Middle East, so we can. That's where we're going. And that was a military cost of 2. That's that done. And yeah, that's that done. So down to the operations phase. Switch that across to there. We're on strategic warfare in the operations phase of the winter of 1942. Right, okay, I need to dash for now. I'll get back when I can with the next part. Okay, cheers.